Hello, everyone. I'm Fran Cleland. I'm the current president of Shape America, and I'm also a professor in the Department of Kinesiology at Westchester University, where I work with teacher candidates to become K 12 health and physical educators. Doug Hallberg asked me to speak about the R in care, the reflective practitioner. So I think a reflective teacher is one who continuously asks several questions, and these questions can span a host of different categories. So my response is going to include reflection about our lesson content, reflection about our teaching methods and pedagogy, reflection about our students' responses to our teaching, our impact on student learning, and our ongoing professional development. So the first area is lesson content. So what I would ask myself if I were you is my lesson standards based? Is it really focused on a grade level outcome and really have a purposeful meaning? The activity is important, but the activity is just a vehicle for delivering a standard. So I think it's really important to rely on our national grade level standards. Then as you're teaching, as you're reflecting throughout the lesson or at the end of the lesson, what were your content progressions? Were they too easy? Were they too hard? Were they really engaging students in the appropriate level of difficulty? So that's something like an ongoing kind of reflection that you might have to log a little bit to really take a look at that at the end of the day. And when you plan your lessons, as well as using your grade level outcomes, are you really considering your students' interests? Are you giving them choice? Because choice is huge. We all have a choice whether we're going to exercise or not. So within your lesson, are you giving students a choice and then having them reflect on why am I making these choices and what's important about me making choices about my own physical activity? And finally, with regard to lesson content, is do my lessons build on each other? Or am I helter-skelter here, there, and where? So I think it's important that our lessons have some continuity and build on each other, either by reinforcing health-related fitness components or specific skill components or conceptual components. The next area is pedagogy. So how do I engage my students in their own learning? During the lesson, and as we're proceeding through practice tasks, do I stop and really have students answer some valuable questions about why am I doing this and am I accomplishing what I really want to achieve? Are you giving students within the lesson a time to self-assess and reflect on their own achievement? Are they doing some peer assessment? And from lesson to lesson, or maybe even within a lesson, are they setting short-term goals and some long-term goals? So I think our pedagogy needs to involve all of that. I'm a real believer in the spectrum of teaching styles, which takes a student from a place of total dependence on the teacher to a place of complete independence and discovery. So I urge all of you to think about using the spectrum of teaching styles because it uses both direct and indirect instruction and finally gets students involved in making their own decisions and really doing some major problem solving. The other big thing is that, especially when I watch my novice teachers, my student teachers, sometimes they stand off and look at the lesson and they don't really interact with the students as they're practicing, even during a warm-up, for example. You need to interact with them and praise them and encourage them and try to look at what's going on with your students during every single lesson. And I'm sure that all of you practicing teachers are experts at that, but I'm sure that's something that we always have to think about. How are my students doing today? Was there anyone that has a specific problem about something? Are my students really positively interacting with each other? And the final aspect of pedagogy was, am I giving valuable, meaningful feedback? Stop the class and give whole class feedback, or even going up to individual students and giving private feedback is critical for their learning. The next part I believe that's important in being a reflective practitioner is looking at our own impact on our student learning. I think every lesson, and I learned this from Terry Drain, should convey three things. What am I teaching? Why am I teaching it? And do my students engage in a discussion about the why? And how do I know that my students have achieved the lesson objective? So I think assessment has to be an ongoing process and an ongoing aspect of all of our teaching. So formative assessment, as we all know, is ongoing. One of my colleagues described it as practicing for the game. And formative assessments can be self-assessments, peer assessments. They also can be teacher assessments. And in the day and age of technology, we've got iPad videos and all sorts of technological assistance that we can use. But summative assessment is also important. PE Metrics is coming out in Nashville at the 2018 conference. They could be used formatively and summatively. And I think it's really important that we know that summative tests, teacher assessments, are the only ones that can be used for our students' grades. And the final section is on professional development. How are you getting outside of your own box? Do you only teach what you're good at? I am a real believer in a balanced curriculum. So at the elementary level, we teach fundamental movement skills and movement concepts, K2, within the areas of games, dance, and gymnastics. And then in grades 3 to 5, we are really focusing on more formal aspects of game, dance, and gymnastics, and combining skills and starting to apply them in more competitive and cooperative situations. Middle school, I think, is the place where we're really looking at an array of different activity forms. And then in high school, I think it should be completely choice and primarily fitness and wellness based. So I think that all of us need to think about, are we diversifying our curriculum? Are we really meeting our students' needs? Do you ever go outside the gym and watch another teacher in a different subject matter and look at what they're doing within their classroom, and how can you benefit from that, and what can you take from it and model in your own teaching? And then each year, maybe there's one aspect of your teaching you want to try to improve on. For me, it's definitely technology. I have to work on that every day, and I just hope I can upload this video so that you all can see it. Thanks for listening to me, and I hope you have a great New Jersey AFERD convention.